Funny that it's Essendon player testing positive or something, isn't it?
Pull your finger out of your ass.
Jeez.
This is my first ever football jumper. My three votes, I should say. My three goats. My three votes for Charlie. Oh, top of the world, mate.
What a time to be alive.
I look a bit like Nickel Bellic from GTA 4, I feel, with this.
That could get dangerous. Football. God, we love football.
Wow, some of us do. You don't look like you do at the moment.
There's a bit of a sarcastic one, that one. Another tough weekend as a Carlton supporter, but that's all right. There's more teams than the Blues.
Well, let's just say I think order has finally been restored. You've had a bit of fun with me the last 2 weeks when Carlton have won 2 in a row and we've lost 2 in a row.
In a low?
In a low. Well, you're a bit low at the moment, but things have been restored. Things are the way they should be.
Yeah, you guys were impressive on Thursday night, weren't you? There was. You guys back to your absolute best.
Yeah, well, I mean, it did look like it. We weren't up against anyone formidable, though.
Mm.
I mean, they didn't look it, did they? Did you see much from the Saints?
No, they were pretty ordinary, to be honest. I didn't really like... I mean, the first quarter and a bit, they were pretty good or pretty competitive, but after that, geez. So I've lost to Essendon by 75 points and I've lost to Richmond by 86 points in the space of 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's
concerning for a team that was aiming to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, it's not a good look for them. Not a good look.
But we're going to get a Saints supporter on the line. We'll see how we go with it. We're going to give him a call and we'll get his thoughts on it because I know a lot of the Saints supporters are pretty filthy about this performance. Well, they've been filthy about the whole season so far.
We've had him before too.
We have had him on before, so we'll see if he answers his phone.
Any day now.
Here we go.
Here he is. Jesus, suspense.
Come on.
Hello.
Richo.
What's going on?
Oh, mate, you're live on the Pressure Point podcast.
How are you, Richo?
Good, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty happy at the moment, man. I've had a good week. Yourself?
Didn't start that great. Well,
give us your thoughts.
If we're talking about the Saints, it's not good. I think last time you called me, it was after a shock and loss as well, and you're making a habit of it. You could have called me after we beat West Coast last week, and this conversation would have been a lot different.
We like to get you on when you're vulnerable, mate.
And we know how filthy you were after Thursday night as well, so it could be a perfect time.
It broke our heart. It's just, how else do you put it? You go from watching us lose by 75 points to the Bombers in a game, I went in thinking we'd win by 75 points. And we go, all right, all hope's lost. Go in against West Coast. All hope's lost at halftime. They bring all the Saints back from the brink of the Westgate Bridge. And we win that game. And I'm thinking, all right, we're back. Marshall's in. Saints are looking good. We're going to knock off the Tigers. Thursday night, I couldn't get to the game. Thank.
Yeah, geez, you've done well there.
So I've sent that off on his own to watch the game.
Oh, that poor man, the poor soul.
And I watched that first quarter and I thought, we're on here. Jack Higgins is looking lively. Paul Hunter's kicked a goal in the first 5 minutes, and I'm thinking, no, he's not that bad. He's not that bad.
King was looking good too early. King
was clunking him. And then what happened? It's amazing what half an hour of football can do to your world. Safe to say, I actually missed the second quarter for moving around and getting home for footy training, and I get home and the game's already over. And what do you say after losing by 85 points to the Tigers at Marvel?
Yeah, there's not much. Well, what do you think it is? What do you think the Saints' issue is? Because, like you've said, there's some high expectations on them this year, and obviously they haven't been met so far. What do you think? What do you think the issue is? That was an accident.
That wasn't an accident.
Oh, fucking hell!
That was an accident.
Look, if I knew what the issue, if anyone knew what the issue was, I reckon they would have solved it by now. I think it's just I think I actually might have said the same thing last time I was on. We know how to lose. We're just the best at it. And if it's just they work us up to a point, getting our hopes to as high as they can, and then they crush them. That's just what it is to be a St Kilda supporter. We're used to it. So I don't know if there's anything to pinpoint. I honestly hope it's just the ruck. I hope it's just that Paddy and Marshall are out, and it's playing with all the boys' heads, and that we get them both back next week and we win the next 15.
Well, what about I know he's been talked about a lot, but Brad Hill, he seems to be an absolute whipping boy from the Saints fans. What's going on there?
It's easy to blame it all on Brad Hill. You know, he's clearly not. He's not that player that he's not your Lenny Hayes. He's not doing the 1%. He's not tackling. He's not winning any contested footy. So it's easy to blame him because everyone wants the hard-nosed player, but he's never been that player. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. He's always been that outside player.
It's not like he was laying tackles at Hawthorn or laying tackles at Fremantle. It just so happens that we're losing now, and he's a part of a losing side. So we're looking like you said, we're looking for that scapegoat.
Do you think it's got something to do with the fact that he's getting paid around $900K a year? Because I think that's the biggest thing.
It has a lot to do with that. He's well overpaid. The Saints bought into the hype. He won a best and fairest. He's won 3 premiership medals, and we thought, let's give him everything that he wants. Brad Hill's come for payday, and how can you blame him? If someone's going to pay you $900K to win 20 uncontested possessions a week. Oh, actually, how many did he have last week? I think he had 10 disposals for the whole game against the Tigers. And he plays just about 100% that time.
That's not good. For an outside player, that's terrible. 10 touches.
It's abysmal.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jack Higgins would have had more than 10. Jack Higgins would have had more than 10 touches as a forward pocket.
I thought Jack Higgins actually had a pretty good game. He kicked a couple, didn't
he? Yeah, he was one of the few. He was one of the few that could probably hold his head high. Him, Jack Steele. Well, where would we be without Jack Steele at the moment?
He's such a good player.
He's honestly Superman for you guys at the moment.
Yeah. And another thing, obviously Jack Steele, I don't think he's the vocal type. Maybe, another one that has been a bit of a whipping boy, and people say, he shouldn't be getting the game. He's injured at the moment. But Jared Geary, maybe Geary offers a lot more to the side than what we think. I don't know. That could be wrong, but maybe we're lacking some leadership. Yeah. I know back in the day when Rewalt was the captain, whenever Rewalt was out of the side, we seemed to lose more often than not.
No, I'd agree with that. I think a lot of clubs don't play to the same level when their leader isn't on the ground with them.
Yeah. So look, I think there's a million reasons why we've shit the bed. I just hope it's personnel and not culture.
So have you readjusted your expectations then for this season? Or is it a case now of just scraping into the finals, or what is it?
Now, like pre-season, I was thinking top 4. Now, if we made finals, that would be absolute best case.
Yeah,
8th spot.
Yeah,
you can't lose 2 games by 75 plus and expect to be any form of relevance in the league. I don't think.
Well, we've spoken about it before on the podcast this season, and a lot. It's hard to tell who's actually a good club at the moment because of the inconsistencies in games that we've seen. So, I mean, as tough as it might be to believe, I reckon there's still every chance that the Saints could come. I'm not going to say they'll finish top 4, but I reckon there's a chance that they'll finish finals relatively convincingly. I think the chance is still there. It's just whether or not they can turn it around a little bit, and with that personnel like Paddy Ryder and Ryan Marshall. And exactly.
I like your positivity. Because we need it. God knows we need it. I think if we can win, we've got Port this week. It's going to be a tough one. If we can knock over Port, then we've got Hawthorn and Gold Coast. That's a nice little run there. Then I think we've got Geelong, who I don't think are much chop this year either. So
you beat Port.
We win the next 4, and I'm right firmly back on the bandwagon. If we lose to Port, I'm going to be
Well, it only takes a
you'd
couple of
expect-
wins to get a season back on track.
Yeah, it does. It does. You know, and a week is a long time in football as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But St Kilda was the perfect example. We went from all right, these guys are shot against Essendon. We beat West Coast. All right, now we're back into premiership contention. Week later, we're off. If we smash Port, if we beat Port by 10 goals next week, the newspapers will change again.
It doesn't take much, does it?
It doesn't. It
I
doesn't.
completely understand. I know exactly.
And
how it
as a
feels.
Blues fan, Marcus, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Identical. So, yeah. Anyway, well, all the best for the Saints this season. I didn't see this sort of start coming. I definitely had you guys up near the top four. So, it's disappointing.
So what's your prediction? You're back? You're both back in the power, obviously. But how much? You know, do you give us a chance?
I mean, as I said, you beat them last year over there when they were in hot form. So, they're looking even better this year, Port Adelaide. So I can't see you guys getting the job done over there. No way.
No.
Yeah, I can't see you guys winning. I don't think it'll be a result like it was on the weekend where you'll lose by 75 points. But I think it'll be I think Port will win.
You just got to stop the thrashings. Just don't get smashed. Because you've got the second worst percentage in the AFL now behind North Melbourne.
I know.
That's embarrassing in itself.
It's not a group you want to be locked in with, is it?
No.
Not North. Anyone but North.
Anyone but North. The team that's shipping to Tassie.
Oh God. Send us there. If we lose to North this year,
then that's it.
That's it. That's enough.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, Richo. Appreciate your thoughts and your time. And we hope the Saints can do a lot better for you in the coming weeks.
And we promise we'll get you on after a win one time too.
Yeah, get me on. Yeah, when we beat Power next week, I want to be on.
All right, done.
If you guys beat Port Adelaide this week, we'll get you on next week. That's a deal.
Yeah, done. All right.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me, boys.
Thanks, Richo.
Thanks, Richo. See you, mate. Jeez, heard it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, that's it. He's it's pretty brutal, and I mean, yeah, as I said, I understand where he's coming from with the way they're going. It's just, they're just in a really, really bad place at the moment.
Yeah, like you said, it's just so heartbreaking because you get those wins like you did against West Coast and you think we're on, and you come out the next week at Marvel against a team that you've had a good record with, relatively recently in the Tigers, who a little bit of our bogey team, I've always said. And then, you lose by 86 points and it's just flattening.
Yeah, absolutely. But on the other side of it, are the Tigers back?
It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, you want to say yes. I mean, we won by 86 points, big game. A lot of our players played really well. Jack kicked 5, Dusty had 34. Toby Nankervis dominated. In saying that, Saints have no ruckman, so you'd expect him to. I really want to see how we go against Melbourne this week before I would say, we're right back up there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we've shown all good signs and you can only play with what you've been dealt. So, I think we're looking pretty good.
Yeah, it was ominous form for mine. Just seeing Jack Riewoldt back to his best, and Dusty obviously was back after a couple of quieter weeks compared to Dusty's standards. But, you guys are just, back to that just terrorising best is probably the best way to put it, isn't it?
Well, we just looked. The pressure we're putting on was ferocious, and that's what I love to see when Richmond play. We had that back again, which was good because we hadn't seen it we didn't see it against Sydney at all. Port, I thought it was there. It was just Port were better on the day, but it was good to see us get a good win and build that percentage because I feel like you said to Richo before, with the Saints having an awful percentage, percentage really helps come to pointy end of the season. So these big wins, you cling on to them when you can.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to another disappointing team, and that is the Collingwood Football Club. Going down to West Coast at home is always a tough challenge, but they didn't look great in large patches of that game. They sort of brought the margin back a little bit, but
it made it more respectable.
Yeah.
I copped a bit of flack over the past week for giving Collingwood a bit of a clip last week, but I feel like I stand by what I said. It's a lack of fight that I think we've seen from Collingwood, especially from what we expect from them. I think was probably the biggest thing for me. But I mean, losing to West Coast over there is, I mean, most people do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're not going to really judge them off that. But it was probably the lack of fight for me. And then I guess the biggest talking point to come out of that game was the Geordie DeGoey and Jeremy Howe mobile phone incident. Did you hear much about that?
I did. And then did you hear what Buckley said about it?
I didn't hear what Buckley said, no.
Buckley reckons because DeGoey was concussed, he didn't know what he was doing. along those lines is what he pretty much said.
That is ridiculous. And what about Jeremy Howe?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What was his excuse?
Yeah, that's right. They were just a bit dazed with what was going on.
Well, I know what Jeremy Howe said that he was, and mind you, I believe him. Jeremy Howe said that he was calling his wife or partner to let her know that he was okay. Because I guess you do have family watching the games. I see you go off injured. They probably are worried. So I get the point behind it. But at the same time, like, you're a senior player, mate. You know that your phones aren't to be touched. And Gary Lyon, I don't know if you heard on SCN this morning, was very heated about the topic. He was not happy at all. He was saying, because you don't know, the player, Goey could be calling and saying, I'm not coming back on for the rest of the game. We're obviously done here. Chuck money on West Coast. I mean, everyone would have had their money on West Coast anyway. So, I mean, in this game, as an example, probably isn't the best. But that's the reason behind not touching your phones, because you don't know what the players are doing in terms of gambling and all the rest of it. And it was a bad look.
Yeah. Yeah, not great. And then there's rules there to state that don't touch your phone between the first siren and the last siren. So all the players know it. And yeah, it's just unnecessary. If you need someone to go tell your family that you're fine or you're all right, get one of the club officials to do it. The ones that can actually have their phone on them.
Yeah. And I mean, look, not to be rude as well, but I think if it was that bad that someone really had to be concerned, the people watching on TV would know.
Yeah.
That would come out. That wouldn't be hidden away, that someone's severely injured. So he was obviously fine. I didn't see the need to touch his phone, and obviously just, again, another bad look. And I guess another thing against Collingwood at the moment, they've had a really rough patch of just a few little incidences that all start adding up, and it's just not looking good for him. But in saying that, controversy can sometimes breed some good performances. So could this be a spark?
They've just had issues and bad press for the last 6 months, ever since the trade week that they had. There's just been things just going on, for the bad reasons at Collingwood. So they need to sort that out and get their club back on track, because it's not just what's happening on field, it's what's happening off field. So they just need to sort that out. And ahead of a massive Anzac Day clash this week, which we'll get to later. But they need to just get a win, because they're sitting in 16th.
Yeah, so, third last at the moment. So you just still be pretty happy you're above them on the ladder?
Absolutely. I mean, we'll take those small wins at this time anyway.
They all count. They all count.
We'll get to it. All right. Moving on. We've got, what else? What have we got next? Bulldogs. Are they going to win the flag? They're looking bloody good.
I don't know if I'm that sold on them, but I wouldn't surprise me if they were the minor premiers.
Talking about teams that are like getting smashed or smashing, Bulldogs have won all their games by big margins.
Yeah, they're looking ominous. Yeah. They're looking very good. I'm not sold on premiership favourites yet. To be honest with you, I couldn't pick a premiership favourite. But, I mean, they're doing everything they can to put themselves in that bracket. So they're going to be very scary. And like I said, would not surprise me if they finished off minor premiers for the year.
Yeah. Their midfield's just going berserk at the moment.
I mean, I think we all tip that to be the case.
Yeah, and they're living up to it. So, you've got Dunkley, Bontempelli, Treloar, McRae, Liberatore. They're all just playing unbelievable footy. And then you've got Tim English in the ruck who's dominating. Steph Martin. They've got
Steph Martin was an underratedly big get.
Yeah.
I think he got undermined a bit by the midfield that they brought in, or they were creating there. But Steph Martin is a massive get for them.
They've got the best midfield in the comp.
Oh, hands down. And like you said, pretty much every game this year they've won by big margins. I think the only one they didn't win by a huge amount was, I think they beat West Coast by 7 points in round 2 or 3.
That'd be the only one.
And that's still West Coast, so still a solid side. And they got the win, and that's what matters at the end of the day. So, yeah, they're looking very good. And I know Richmond have got them in a couple of weeks, and I'm very nervous.
Yeah, absolutely, you would be. We've got them in a couple of weeks, so that'll. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Anyway, moving back. We may as well touch on the Blues now that I've brought it up. I seem to be bringing it up in every topic we talk about. So let's just get it out of the way so I can move on from it. Saturday night at the MCG against Port Adelaide. Going into the game, you probably wouldn't have expected us. No one really would have tipped us, and that's fair enough. It's Port Adelaide. They're one of the premiership favourites, if not the premiership favourite. But as the game got closer, the odds started to shorten up. I don't know if you noticed, but it pretty much ended up being a dead even game in terms of the betting, which shows that everyone was giving us a huge chance, especially at the MCG. We were just hoping it wasn't going to be another fail on the big stage like it was against Collingwood. Pretty much from the first bounce, you could just feel it. It was just flat skill errors, terrible. When your captain can't even stand up for you and kick a goal from 10 metres out in front, you got issues. Cripps needs to. I'm going to be careful with what I say. I'm really not liking him at the moment. He just beats up on the shit teams.
I wanted to ask you about Cripps because he's a big talking point in terms of Carlton. He gets bashed a lot when Carlton don't win and he doesn't perform, and then he'll have a game like he did against Freo and he's basically God again. Do you buy into that hype when he has a good game like that, or what do you think it is that he hasn't been producing that consistently?
Well, it's all good and well to go and try fight Caleb Sarong, who's about 5'10", but when it comes against Ollie Wines and players like that, he shits the bed. So, I mean, you're our captain. You need to lead from the front. Stop trying to do too much and take everyone on because it's not a great look and it's embarrassing, to be honest.
No, I think it was Kane Corns that said it, that it looks like he's trying to win in Brownlow instead of win games.
Exactly.
Do you buy into that?
Yeah, absolutely. When he was at his best and the MVP, he was doing the 1%ers, getting his teammates involved. He's like everyone just jumps on his back and he carries them with him. Now he's trying to be what everyone knows him to like. He's trying to act like he's won 5 Brownlows, Yeah. He's just trying to do too much, and it's affecting his game and it's affecting the team's game. So it's not a great look. And what pisses me off the most is they jump on players like Mark Murphy, who have given unbelievable service to the club, and everyone forgets how good he was, 5-6 years ago. But they don't give Cripps any stick, It's just that's what frustrates me about the Carlton supporters is they jump on Murphy very quickly, but they're too scared to jump on about Cripps. Only a small minority do, but that's what frustrates me.
Yeah, and I can see that as well. I mean, especially when the game's on the line, or when there's moments in the game that it goes your way, the result is completely different. I know Cripps had a shot from about 30 metres out directly in front, and
shorter than that.
Yeah, and missed it. I mean, he's done that a couple of times now, and I'm not questioning his ability, but I think it's the lack of the lack of ability to kick those goals in the moments when he needs to that have sort of hurt Carlton recently. And you're right. I don't think a lot of people. I mean, maybe from the outside he gets criticised a lot. I know lately, especially with the contract talks at the moment, people are saying, "Oh, he's not a $1 million player," and this and that. Which I mean, the monetary stuff aside, yeah, you're right. He's not standing up when you need him to.
Yeah, he just needs to focus on bringing his teammates into the game. Focus on those 1%. Focus on that aggression, that energy that he brought to us at the start, right from the very start when he was winning best and fairest and AFL MVPs and every award possible. Bring that. Stop trying to take on everyone and try to win the game off your own boot because you can't. One, he's not quick enough, and two, he can't kick. He's not skillful enough to do it.
Do you think it's a lack of trust in his teammates that he does this, or do you genuinely?
That's what people are saying.
Yeah, or do you genuinely believe it's him just going?
No, I think
I'm the best on the ground.
I'm the captain. I'm the captain. I need to do this.
Because in the past couple of seasons, the way I've looked at it is Cripps he sees that the game needs to be won, and he felt like the only person that could do that was him. And I mean, in the past, that's probably not too far off the mark.
Yeah.
But I mean, now you've brought in guys like Sard, Williams, Walsh is now a superstar of the game. Do you think he hasn't grown that? He hasn't, gained that trust or given them that trust that they probably deserve and bring them into the game as well as some of the other young guys? They're not the only ones. They're just probably the best examples.
Yeah. I'm sure that's not his reasoning for it. I'm sure he trusts his teammates, but I think he just needs to get back to those 1%ers of making a smother, getting quick like those. He was the king of those quick handballs out of a pack, standing up in a tackle, getting his other teammates. Now he tries to take on every single tackle, and you'll see him get pinned hold on the ball every time.
Well, do you think it's the new rules that are hurting him? Because I know that's been talked about as well, because he's a good contest player and there's less contests.
But against Freo and Gold Coast, he was doing that fine. It's when when the pressure's on, like against Richmond or Collingwood or Port Adelaide that we've played. He's just, he played pretty well against you blokes, but the Collingwood and Port Adelaide games, he's just tried to do way too much, and it comes across as selfish, and which I'm sure is not, but he's not the Patrick Cripps that we know from 2018, 2019.
Yeah. Now look, from what I've seen and what I've heard from Patrick Cripps, and I don't know him obviously, but you hear him speak and all that. I don't think he's a selfish person. I doubt. I wouldn't.
No.
I'd be very surprised if that was the reasoning behind it. But yeah, you're right. I think he needs to probably focus on the little things a little bit more and stop trying to take on as big of a load because he doesn't need to anymore. No. He can take half a step back to go 2 steps forward, if you know what I mean. So I think if he can realise that and start bringing those little 1%ers back into his game, things will change, not only for Carlton, but for Cripps as well.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But, that's all I'm going to say about the Blues from the weekend. Disappointing, and let's hope we can bounce back next week. The Melbourne Football Club. Is it the year of the demon?
Wow.
I know a lot of people are saying it.
We'll find out Anzac Day Eve this week, but geez, it just could be. Like I think we said it last week. They're looking like they're in 2018 form again.
Yeah, I mean we all know the talent on their list. We all know their top range players are as good as anyone in the competition. So they're capable of pulling something out like this, aren't they?
Oh, 100%. And remember, they've still got Ben Brown not in the side yet.
He played well in the twos on the weekend.
Yeah, and he was winning Colemans and stuff like that not long ago. So he's every chance. Did he win a Coleman actually?
He did at North.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Pretty sure he did.
Yeah. Well, if not, he was always up there.
50, 60, almost 70 goals a year.
Yeah. So imagine you bring someone like that into your team alongside those guys like Gawn, Petrarca, Clayton Oliver, Jack Viney, Stephen May in the back line.
They're a bloody good team.
Oh, they're a great team. The list is great, and they're finally putting it together because they've had that list for a couple of years now. Yeah. They just haven't been able to find that continuity between each other. But now they've got it, and it's showing on the in the results.
Well, it's going to be the big test for them this weekend. We'll really see where they're at.
Well, I think it's a big test for both sides. If I'm honest, because Richmond really, I mean, we had Port, which is probably the hardest team we've faced so far, and they beat us.
Yeah.
And then the rest were games we probably were expected to win, and we lost a couple of them, but this is a big one for us, especially Dusty's 250th, Nath Jones 300th.
Huge game.
Anzac Day Eve. Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, massive.
And hopefully 100% crowd as well.
That would be huge. I would love that. So we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Toby Green.
Jeez.
1 goal 7.
1 goal 7. I mean, you love having those scoring opportunities. That's 8 shots on goal he's had right there.
Outrageous.
I didn't actually watch his game, so I don't know if there was any out in the fulls you can throw in there as well. But
I'm not sure. Yeah, I remember. I think I heard this on the radio or somewhere, and I had to go check the AFL app just to make sure I heard that right. 1 goal 7.
Jeez,
how has that happened, Toby?
I mean, like I said, I didn't watch it. I don't know how difficult the shots he was taking were, or if it was just a bad day in front of goal. I mean, like I said, you'd be happy with the amount of opportunities he's getting in front of goal because he's winning the ball at least. But you've got to convert those, don't you?
And then Buddy kicked 5, didn't he?
5 straight.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear he's injured now?
He's out.
He's out for another month, which ruins his bid for 1,000 goals.
No, disappointing. But GWS though, let's give them credit.
Oh,
they just knocked off the Swans in pretty much the last second of the game, wasn't it?
And they were looking unstoppable.
Yeah,
the Swans. They were looking like I can't even speak. They're looking like they were going to be the 3rd team to go into this round undefeated.
Yeah.
And of all teams, the Giants got them. Who
Crazy.
we all wrote off.
Yeah.
Which I'm still writing off, to be honest. But it's an inspiring win against Sydney.
Absolutely. But let's start previewing round 6. Is it? It's round 6 this weekend.
Time flies.
Unbelievable. We're already over a month in. It's gone so quick, and there's already a lot of teams been written off. A lot of teams are flag favourites and whatnot. So, but we're back into the traditional time slots of footy this weekend. The round starts on Friday nights and ends on Sunday night. So back to the normal time slots. We've got GWS and the Bulldogs Friday night at Manuka Oval. Now, all of a sudden, that's turned out to be an interesting game.
Oh, definitely. If the Giants can play like they did against the Swans and put on a bit of a show, it's every chance to be a good game. And we all know that these guys have got a modern-day rivalry that's almost unmatched. I mean, there's not many rivalries going around at the moment that are bigger than this.
Genuinely hate each other, these two.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, like you say, you got the Collingwood Carltons, the Collingwood Essendons, but they're strong, I guess, through the history, but as of recent, not really.
Yeah.
Or I don't think so anyway. But these guys here, ever since that preliminary final, they just hated each other, and you can see it when they play. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think with the other teams like the Carlton Collingwood rivalry, it's more like the fans hate each other. With this one, the players hate each other,
which is more
which
interesting.
Is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, it's funny you say that. There's fantastic that people hate each other, but
but that's what makes the game so much more interesting.
yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, look, I'm still going the Doggies here. They're undefeated, and GWS haven't given much this year, but
You
like
can't
you said,
tip against them.
definitely more of an interesting game than what it would have been if they didn't beat
Yep.
Sydney.
For sure. Saturday afternoon, we've got Geelong and West Coast down at GMHBA Stadium.
The Alphabet Stadium.
Did you watch Geelong North, by the way?
I watched bits and pieces. I didn't watch the whole thing because I threw a cheeky tenner on North because I was paying
Yeah.
$12.50.
I know. There was a large chunk of that first half North were winning.
I know. I thought I was going to get up.
Yeah.
I was laughing at one
Crazy.
point.
So, Geelong are no good. Sorry.
Yeah. I think the Richmond curse got him.
Yeah. They've shown nothing so far this season. Their 2 wins. Have they won 2 games? Yeah, I think so. They beat Brisbane when they shouldn't have.
They didn't
And
deserve that win. No.
Does this count as a 20-point win against North? Does that even count as a win?
That's a loss. You only beat him by 20 points.
Exactly.
And did Danger play? Did he not?
He did.
Did he get injured? Because I saw in the AFL up it said out next to his name, which usually means he's been taken
I'm
out
not
of
sure.
the game.
I didn't see. Unless they rested him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah.
someone was protecting themselves as he ran by and he got injured on the way through. So I'm not sure. I didn't see it. But look, I mean, being in Geelong and West Coast, being away from West Coast, I give Geelong a pretty good chance
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Just because West Coast have shown so far they're not great away from
can't
home.
travel.
And Geelong usually play pretty good footy down at the Alphabet Stadium there. So yeah, I'm going Geelong.
Yeah, I think Geelong, last chance I'm going to give them, and only giving them a chance because it's down at Cardinia Park. So Geelong just for mine.
I just realised we just gave GMHBA 3 different names there in that little segment.
GMHBA, Alphabet.
And Cardinia Park.
Yeah, think of a fourth if you can. Get back to me. All right, we've got Gold Coast and Sydney also at the same time at Metricon Stadium.
I was just laughing about the Geelong Stadium thing again. And there we go. There's your fourth. Another one that Gold Coast have probably underperformed this year so far from what we've expected from them. In Sydney, I guess we'll be looking to bounce back after a shock loss to GWS. So, I mean, I'm tipping Sydney for this one. I think they're still good. Their young list will hold up. But it's going to be 2 young lists going at each other. So I actually think it'll be a bit of an interesting game.
It will be. Swans on the rebound though. I think they'll be breathing fire after that loss last week. And the Gold Coast for mine, I think they're going under the radar as a team that should be under more pressure. Don't you reckon?
Yeah.
Considering where they're at. I
you
saw
think-
something. Stewie Jew's winning record is worse than like Rodney Eads and coaches before him.
It's poor. It is
So,
poor.
and
But
he's-
do you think it's got something to do with the fact that, I mean, look, me personally, I had high hopes of Gold Coast this year. Finals were for me, were realistic for them. I mean, not so much now, but do you think it's got something to do with the fact that people just tend to write off Gold Coast all the time just because they've never really been that good?
Yeah.
So you see them lose a couple of games, you're like, oh yeah, Gold Coast, another easy
Yeah.
win. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You don't really give them much.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah.
that's probably
Yeah,
why
that's
they're
probably
flying
is.
under the radar?
No one really cares. Really,
Yeah, I was
isn't
about
it?
to say, without being harsh, that's probably
Yeah.
it. I don't think really anybody cares because they're not, I mean, like the Giants, they're not one of those clubs that have been around for long and have bred generations worth of
Yeah.
fans that people are really passionate about them yet. It'll come,
Yeah.
especially with success. But yeah, I think people have just sort of forgotten about them and letting them getting away with it. I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But yeah, I don't think they'll win this. I think Sydney will be too strong and on the rebound as well. Later that day, we've got Carlton and Brisbane at Marvel Stadium. Brisbane coming off a big win over the Bombers, a much needed one in the wet as well. So they needed that after a very slow start to the season, and then now they're back in Melbourne where they couldn't really win a game while they were down here in a mini hub against a Carlton team who's going to be on the rebound and hopefully breathing fire.
Well, you'd really hope so. You want to put something out, especially like you said, Brisbane away from home again. They haven't had a good record here this year. And they probably another team that haven't been living up to their expectations. I know they had that one against Geelong they should have won, which would have put, another W next to their name. But yeah, they're another one that really need to win this as well. So again, I know we've said this for most games, that this is going to be another real interesting one to watch because I think both teams are going to go at it pretty hard.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game, especially on Marvel as well. It's a quick deck. Both sides play pretty quick footy. But yeah, it's just going to see how the Blues respond. I think that's really what it's going to come down to. If Carlton can play the way that they played before the Port Adelaide game for those 2 weeks, I think they'll be a real chance to win it. But yeah, if Brisbane can play like they did last week, back to their back to the form and the form that we expected from them. I think if they can win, their season's right back on track, and I think they'll be too strong.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think that's going to be the case as well. But football's a strange game, and anything can happen.
I won't complain if they're not strong, but I think they'll be too strong. Melbourne Richmond Saturday night. The clash is it the traditional Anzac Eve clash now?
It has been. It's been like that for I think at least 5 years nearly now. So I'm going to say yes. I like it. I really like having that time slot. I think it's a good almost like a pre-game show before the main Anzac Day clash that we have between Collingwood and Essendon, and it makes Anzac Day round feel that, I don't want to say more special just because we're in the game, but I guess more special because there's another marquee game to look forward to that week rather than just the one that we've had every other year. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and we touched on it before that we both think it's going to be a good game. There's a lot on the line with Dusty 250, Nate Jones 300, and then obviously the Anzac Day Eve match is just special in itself. So I think it'll be a really good one. I honestly can't pick. I'm going to have faith in my boys and say they'll get the job done. Yep. But a couple of important outs could hurt us come, late in the game if it's tight. So it could go either way, but I'm going to go the Tigers.
Yeah, I think the Tigers as well. Just on the big stage, they'll get the job done. But wouldn't surprise you if Melbourne get up as well. They've been very impressive. So this is the Anzac clash everyone's really looking forward to because Collingwood and Essendon aren't setting the world on fire at the moment. So,
but they're both sitting around the same spot. So maybe the game will actually be quite interesting.
It might be, but both we're both not expecting them to play finals. Where Melbourne and Richmond are the two, at the moment, they look like they're going to both be at the pointy end. So it's going to be a great clash. I'm really looking forward to this one.
From what I've seen on social media as well, you're right. Even like Channel 7 are doing it. Everyone's hyping up the Anzac Day Eve clash. I haven't seen much about Collingwood Essendon yet. So, I think you're right. Yeah. It'll be a good game. And like I said, still going for the Tigers.
Yeah. Freo North also on Saturday night. I think Freo way too strong at home.
I feel bad saying it, but do we just breeze past North games at this point?
Nice, easy one for Freo there.
Freo at Optus.
Sunday, we've got Hawthorn and Adelaide down in Tassie. First game down in Tassie for the year. Hawks back at their
home away from home.
Is that what it is? Or
well, I think so. I mean, them and North both play a lot of games down there. So, probably a home away from home, I would say. The Crom are due for another win. They had a loss on the weekend. So we're looking to bounce back.
They're not great away from home, though, the Crom.
I was about to say, they don't have that firepower coming from the crowd. So, and we've got someone watching videos while her Bluetooth is attached to the...
We've got the live audience. The live audience is trying to hijack the podcast.
For those that don't know, we've got a new recording device called the Rodecaster Pro, and you can connect Bluetooth to it. And someone's decided to sit in the room and watch videos on their phone while connected to the Bluetooth. So apologies for that.
All right, that's the last time we're going to have a live audience in the studio.
We'll remember that for next time.
Yes. All right, let's...
Back to our tips for Hawthorn and Adelaide, though, before we're rudely interrupted.
Yes, I think the Hawks, just.
I'm going to go the Hawks as well.
Because it's in Tassie.
Yeah, I was about to say, just because it's in Tassie, but I'm excited from what I'm seeing with the Crom.
Yeah. The big Anzac clash, Collingwood and Essendon. This is the traditional one. This is what everyone sort of waits for. Not as exciting this year just with two teams and how they've been performing, but it's actually a really hard one to tip.
Yeah, because they're both sitting around the same.
And Essendon's been in okay form before the week.
They're but they're unpredictable, and that's the thing. You don't know if you're going to get the Essendon that beat St Kilda by 75 points or the Essendon from every other week. So it's really hard to say. I'm going to go Collingwood because I think Collingwood are better on a big stage.
Yeah.
They're more used to it, but it really could go either way.
Yeah. I'm going to go Collingwood as well, but it wouldn't surprise me if Essendon got up there as well.
Also, it could be a silly question from me, but did the Collingwood Essendon normally play as the only game on that day? Or do they usually have other games around them? Because
if it's during the week, it's just them, but I think it's because it's on a weekend. I mean, how else are you going to cram all the games in?
You can't. Yeah, you're right. You can't. But I was wondering if this is a first or if it's happened before.
I think it has happened before.
It has?
I think it would have happened. How often does it roll around on a weekend? Probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think I remember it happening. It was a while ago. It doesn't feel the same, though. It's better when it has its own day.
Oh, exactly. Because you plan your day around it almost. Because it's, like you said, it's the one-off game. You all look forward to it. You sit down and, watch a good game of footy usually.
Yeah. The final game of the round, we've got Port Adelaide and St Kilda at Adelaide Oval, as we mentioned before with Richo. Yeah, it's hard to mount a case for the Saints here.
Yeah,
especially
not
at Adelaide.
not at Adelaide. I was going to say, if it was at Marvel, I'd give them a sniff. I still wouldn't say they'd win, but I'd give them a sniff. But yeah, I'm not even giving them that for this one. Not an Adelaide Oval, and Port have been looking pretty good.
Yeah, that's Port, nice and easy there. All right, well, that is it for this week's episode. And before we forget, let's get our sponsors in. We meant to say it at the start when we forgot. Sorry,
Yes.
Enz. But who have we got?
So we'll start off with Millie and Ma, who I should point out, by the way, coming up to Mother's Day is the perfect gift for your mother or any other mums you may know. It's a perfect gift for them. They do beautifully curated gift boxes. Everything in there is Australian made. So if you're looking for a present for mum or anybody else you know that deserves something for Mother's Day, definitely a go-to from them. And then who's our next sponsor, Marcus?
And we've got Retro Jet Prince. Go Enz.
Woo! And before we finish up as well for the day, I've been begged. I've been begged, I'm telling you, for the last couple of days to give a shout out. So to my local side, play for the Elsternwick Football Club. And they've had a couple of big wins on the weekend, and they wanted me to give them a shout out. So the seniors played on the weekend. It was Elsternwick versus Box Hill North Football Club, and they won 259-7. And they thought that was a pretty big result, and they really wanted me to pump them up on the podcast. So here's my shout out, boys. I hope you're listening. And go the Wicks.
Jeez, that is a huge win.
That's massive. And
Did the other team ever turn up?
not to mention the Rezzies won 189-12.
Hurry up.
So both the seniors and Rezzies had a pretty big win on the weekend. So they'll go away pretty happy, I reckon.
Beautiful.
So
Did you play?
I played in the thirds.
Hey.
So I played in the thirds. We had a loss on the weekend, and I kicked 3 goals 5. So my
3 goals 5.
My accuracy hasn't been
Toby
great.
Green.
A bit of Toby Green about me, but had to work in the afternoon. So played with the threes, gave him a chop out.
That's all right.
And missed most of my shots on goal. So I did wonders.
Did you find the camera this week?
I did after the game on the way off the ground, and not the same as when I've had the cameras on me after a goal or something like that. But publicity is publicity.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't brought this up. I was on Sunrise during the week.
Really?
Yeah.
With Koshi?
No, well, he was in the studio. I was live with the weatherman. They came down to the Elsternwick Footy Club and gave us a bit of a plug, and we had some AFLW players there. So we had Mon Conti, Darcy Vesio, and Chloe Malloy.
Yeah.
So they were all down there. We're having a kick of the footy together, having a good laugh.
Nice.
It's pretty chilly at 5:30 in the morning. Let me tell you,
Yeah,
probably wouldn't do it again. So
We'll have to get those girls on the podcast. So,
absolutely, they said they would. They said they listen every week, and they're keen to come on. So
beautiful.
reach out to them.
All right. Well, that is us done. As we say every week, make sure you leave us a review. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast. We appreciate all the love and support. Can't thank you guys enough. Enjoy round 6 and the Anzac weekend.